Welcome into Flyers Postgame Live presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Taryn Hatcher, Al Morganti here to break down the 4-1 loss to the Rangers tonight. The Flyers now 0-5-2 in their last 7 games. Al, the power play 0-for-11 over that span. A lot of the same issues kind of popping up tonight. Lack of goal scoring, struggles on the power play. I know that Igor Shesterkin is a very good netminder, but what concerns you the most about what you've seen from tonight's game?
Oh, the lack of offense. Obviously, the power play, you can't mention it enough. I mean, they were gifted a couple of things. A 5-minute power play where the goaltender doesn't have his stick for 90 seconds, it seemed like. A gift power play in the third period where you can't come through. Couturier couldn't finish. You know, there's no way to paint any sort of happy face on what you just saw. Yes, the goaltender was terrific, Shesterkin, but people aren't going to want to hear about that when your power play can't score. And if you're trying to pick 3 stars of the game, do you have any Flyers in your 3 stars of the game? Kakko, the goaltender, maybe the Fox, the defenseman, or Trouba, the defenseman? No, this was a desperate situation in which they did not look like a desperate team. And it was a very, very disappointing loss, and they're in some deep water right now.
All right, on that note, let's welcome in Jim Jackson and Brian Boucher on the crossover. Guys, Al mentioned it. The Flyers, they are in deep water in terms of lack of offensive production, just 1.71 goals over their 7-game losing streak. Power play 0-for-11 over that span, as I mentioned. How do you get out of the deep water at this point? What is step 1 for you?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about this ad nauseum, quite frankly, for quite a while now. They haven't scored more than 3 goals in the game in 16 games, and that's putting a whole lot of pressure, Boosh, on your defense and your goaltending. And, you know, as a goaltender, you can make a lot of saves, keep your team in games, but eventually you start to crack a little bit too. And, you know, that's what happened, I think, a little bit last year, and the Flyers want to avoid that. So, yeah, they've got some problems. What to do? I mean, get back to the grindstone. Get those goals where maybe it's bouncing off your rear end and going into the net. Those kind of goals, the pretty goals, you don't see too many of those.
Yeah, look, there's no easy answer here. I mean, it really is, like you said, put your nose to the grindstone and try to find some ugly goals, some greasy goals. You know, their power play had 13 shots on goal tonight. If you want to try and look at positives, I thought it was a little bit better at generating opportunities. I know people don't want to hear that. You know, you want results, but the reality is they had some good looks. In the start of the third period, they had some chances that they didn't cash in on, and I think part of that is just gripping the stick a little bit, right? I mean, I think they're feeling it right now. They're feeling the pressure. They're trying their hardest to find a way to get pucks in the back of the net, but it's not happening. But like you said, the one thing that concerns you or worries me a little bit as an ex-goaltender is you're playing very well as a goaltender, Carter Hart and Martin Jones, and what you don't want to happen is you don't want that confidence or that game to start to erode when the team starts to come on the ascent, right? You know, the timing, you don't want that to be off. So that always worries me a little bit. You just hope that the Flyers can find a way to catch some breaks, and once they do, confidence can grow. But, tough to find goals right now.
Boosh, you played here. You played on a lot of places where there's pressure, especially here in Philadelphia. How does it affect a team when every game is this important, every period, every power play, every shift, basically? How does that affect a team you get behind in a game especially?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you don't want to get into a situation is where everybody's stressed out, right? I mean, the anxiety's high in the locker room, and you don't want the situation to turn into where, you know, guys are starting to point fingers at one another. What's important in a time like this is that the locker room stays together, that everybody, you know, continues to pull on the rope at the same time. You have to understand, they're in the middle, if you're looking at big picture right now, they're in the middle of a tough stretch. I mean, right now against some tough opponents, tough schedule. It's not to make excuses. It's just the reality of the situation, right? But it's important that you don't turn on one another. That to me is what's most important when you face pressure like this. They need a break, right? I mean, tonight losing Farabee is a loss. They get Hayes back, but now they lose Farabee, so there's going to be some question marks there. Hopefully Brassard is on the mend here pretty soon. They get a couple of days. But, yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you don't figure games to be pressure-packed this early in December.
That's right. Guys, I got to ask, Boosh, you mentioned the big picture. If I zoom out a little bit from tonight's game, look at the schedule, though. They've got 5 and 7 next week. I know they have 3 days off here starting tomorrow, but their first 2 games back is Tampa and Colorado. How do you not start to put the carriage in front of the horse here and let things mentally get away from you, as you have 3 days to sit on what's transpired over the past 7 games and over the course of tonight's game?
Yeah, you can't get ahead of yourself. I mean, the reality is they got a tough schedule coming up. They got some days to get some rest. Hopefully they can get healthy. Look at some of the positives that took place tonight on the power play. Obviously correct some mistakes. They gave up a power play goal for the Rangers here tonight as well. But one game at a time. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, you have to find a way to win a hockey game on Sunday against a very tough opponent, and then you're going to have a tough turnaround on Monday. But the worst thing you can do is start to look at the schedule and say, my goodness, this is getting really hard. You know, you have to look only right in front of you 5 feet. And if you can do that, find a way to gain confidence off that, maybe you can get something going.
I think we're already past that stage. I think they probably have gone through those feelings because the schedule's been difficult really for the last 3 weeks in terms of quality of opponents. Almost all the teams in the top 10 that they've played outside of New Jersey over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think they've been through that tear. And now maybe we're at the other end where you just got to say, hey, to heck with it. Let's just go out there and play. And maybe that's what happens on Sunday against Tampa Bay. Maybe they get another player back. Hopefully Farabee's okay. Didn't look good. But at this point, it's the old, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And it's getting pretty close to killing the Flyers right now in terms of their season, the division they're in, the standings and so forth. So they got to hope now that they find something to grab onto. And if they can make it through, be a stronger team for it.
Well, they have a lot of opportunities to say the heck with it next week because, as we mentioned, 5-7, that is a tall task. J.J. Bush, thank you so much for joining us here on the Crossover.
Thank you.
All right, let's now take a look at the Colonial Nissan game changer. And Al, it was the 5-minute power play. Bush did mention Flyers did get some looks here, which feels like a step in the right direction. The problem is that when you don't break through, it feels like the looks only add to the frustration.
It becomes even more frustrating. You know, you've got your guys on the ice. You've got, you know, Hayes back on the power play. Couturier there. You managed to stay in the zone, which they had trouble doing previously. The long power play. And, you know, the goalie was terrific. I mean, there's no denying that. I mean, he's a terrific goaltender who had another A game against the Flyers here tonight. But there comes a point now where it's like, you know, 2 for 30, whatever, in the last number of games, where you just can't hear it. It has to happen. And you're given 5 minutes to keep pressure on, keep a team tired, keep in their zone. And then to top it off, you see a goaltender lose a stick, and he plays 2 minutes, it seems like, with a forward stick to come in and make saves like that, to not be able to bury a shot. So much as you want to say, yeah, it was good goaltending, and yes, they moved the puck through the zone a little bit better, and they rotated it some, they went across the zone. They didn't cash in on it, and it's been far too long without cashing.
You said 2 for 30, whatever. If you want to be specific, 5 for their last 57. It's just astounding when you look at the numbers. Let's hear now from Flyers head coach Alain Vigneault.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you look at the game overall, I mean, I like the way we came out. Our PK gives up that first goal on a play there that we had talked to our players about. Should have got a block shot from one of our 2 forwards there. Didn't get it. Goalie doesn't see the puck. And there's no doubt that, you know, I thought the power play in the second period gave us some momentum. Thought it had some real good looks. But at the end of the day, and you need to find a way to finish, and we didn't do that. Just like we need to find a way to win a game, and we didn't do that tonight also. So power play had opportunities, could have made a big difference in helping us come back in this game, but we're just not making the plays we need to make.
Could you describe what happened there with Farabe that took place?
When Joel got hurt, I haven't seen a replay. I know I was told he fell awkwardly into the boards, so he'll be reevaluated tomorrow, and I'll have more news for you.
We're satisfied.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied about anything here. Like, we have to find a way to win games here. This is serious here, and you know, we're not scoring right now. We're not finishing, so we're going to have to find a way to win games 1-0 or 2-1. And until we get some of that finish that I know some of these players have, but definitely right now we're not seeing it. We're not executing it. So we're going to have to tighten up defensively and find a way to win 1-0 or 2-1.
Last one. In the moments leading up to like prior goals in the second period, Scott Washington tried to contact. What happened? Like what should happen?
He's got a play that if he makes, we're going down 2-on-1. He's got to make that play. That's a play that you have to make, just like, you know, when you're on the power play and there's some openings and some lanes that are open. There's some plays that our guys have made in the past that they have the talent to make it, and they got to find a way to make it. All right, thanks.
All right, coming up here on Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance, we are going to talk about Morgan Frost's first goal of the season, something positive. We're also going to have to talk about potential loss of Joel Farabee. The Flyers suffer yet another one on this already injury-plagued season. We'll be right back.